Broad answer.
How do you evaluate the offense so far? A quarter of the way through the season, where does it stand relative to where you would have expected it to be at this point?
You're always building, right? You're never going to be exactly where you're going to be at the beginning of the season. And there's no, you got training camp. There's no preseason games, so it's hard to evaluate exactly where you are when you go against your team. So, we've had three opportunities so far, and each game is so different in terms of just how it's played relative to what are they doing on defense, what are we trying to take advantage of. The one thing that stayed constant is these guys play with good effort, and they're doing what we ask them to do. Execution has picked up. Sometimes not just, sometimes it doesn't appear that way. There's really small things that you might not see sitting in the stands that we see that continue to develop. So I like the path we're on. We're nowhere near where we need to be where we want to be. But we're working that way. It's trending in the right direction. So I'm certainly not displeased. It's just the execution has to be consistent. Great teams are really good consistently. It's not that they do anything special. And that's what we're working on is the consistency. So it's not good game, bad game, good game. We got to be here and building. And that's what we're focused on is trying to build and be in the right direction and always getting better and try to eliminate this part, whether it's during a game or during the season.
Right. Have you ever coached like a perfect game at any level? Touchdowns every drive?
No. I credit them. It's and I think coaches look at it this way. But the sad part is the first thing I talked to David about after the game is we've left 3 more on the board. We had the turnover there from special teams and we tried to run reverse and the ball handling got messed up and then we were on the 6 and a snap went over the head and so even with that, there's things to improve on. But again, that's the execution part and it becomes contagious. It's confidence and this game's what happens is you start to have success and success breeds success. And all of a sudden, another guy's making a play, another guy. Because the thing I liked about Saturday is the plays that these guys made, it's not like all of them were just wide open. A guy was having to make a play. Now Haran, right, that's run under the ball. But Aaron on the 2-minute drive, he catches it, he goes up and gets the ball. David throws it where no one else can get it. And that's making a play. So that was positive to see. But perfect game? No. Only in baseball.
Coach, how much of game planning is trying to figure out what their approach to your offense is going to be? Is that always a big part?
Yeah, no, it's a big part. I think that everyone, whether you're on offense or defense or special teams for that matter, they all do what they do. And there's subtle things that you change based on who you're playing, and that's us to them and them to us. So there's certainly things they can do, and there's things, the previous team did where, you take away David, and you can't take away everything, but you try to limit stuff. It's like in the passing game, there's things that we do to design to get the ball to certain guys, but coverage dictates that. It's like, guy makes a play, get it to him more, and we try to do that, but, if you notice in the game with Hergy, now they started clouding him and playing cover 2, all of a sudden he's taken away. Now there's things formationally we can do to try to move him. So there's always that chess match. You do what you do, but there's subtle differences week to week to, okay, if they take this away, how can we move him to get him in a different spot? How can we change how the picture looks to the defense? So again, philosophically, we try to make the same things look different things look the same. And I think I said this way back in the spring. We're going to be simple. We're going to make it try to look sophisticated.
Right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, Syracuse is second in the nation on third down defense.
We talked about that today.
What do they do well in those situations?
Well, I think it always starts, whether on either side you're at, it starts up front. And these guys are really good up front. They got natural pass rushers. They can get to you just by rushing 4, which always helps in coverage. Anytime you can get to the quarterback by just rushing 4, it becomes harder. But they have a good pressure package. They mix it up. They're good cover guys in the back end. They're good at what they do. It's a pretty veteran defense. And the biggest thing that we've talked about, to be good on third down and on defense and then offense. To be good on third down, you got to be good on first and second. I talked to the quarterbacks today. You go back and you look at the previous games, UCF, Rhode Island. Those third downs that we converted, they're all at 3rd and 2 to 6 range. You go back to Boise when we weren't good on third down, and you look at the distances of third down. Because everyone groups third down. Well, it's not just third down. You look at when you're 3rd and 9 plus 10 times. That's hard. I don't care who you are. That's hard. And so the key to being good on third down is being really efficient on first and second. With those now become 3rd and 4, not 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. But it's hard.
Who's one player who you've been particularly impressed with, or who has given more than you expected?
I think Coach hit it on the head last week. Obviously, the two guys that work their tails off every day, and there's more than two, but just to answer your question, and I think it shows, like you look at a guy like Kevin Mensah, right? Kevin has worked his tail off, and that guy in practice, he always finishes in the end zone, no matter what drill he's doing, individual, team, 2-minute, live, walkthrough, it is full speed for him. And what happens is practice habits become game realities. That's what I always tell him. And what happens is he does it in practice. And when you get to a game and it's 4th and 1 and we got to hand it to him, there was a 4th and 1 in that game in the red area where the blocking wasn't exactly right. And here's a guy who willed his way to a yard. But he does that in practice. And I think the guys, he does that. Aaron McLean, there's multiple guys that do that. So I don't want to say a surprise, but I think Kevin's a guy who's been working, and what happens in life, right? The work is starting to show dividends. We're starting to pay off for him.
Kevin spoke yesterday about David's ability to run. Kind of makes it easier for him. We always talk about the run setting up the passing game, but almost between the two, the run sort of sets up the run.
It does. I think it helps. It helps you stay balanced. And again, part of the run game, it's numbers and angles. So there's times where David's forced to run. And again, I know I said this after the UCF game. The amount of times that kid runs the ball isn't the amount of times I'm calling it to run, but things happen. And some of them you can't control, be it zone reads. You don't know if it's a give or a pull. Some are scramble. His first touchdown, it's a throw and he scrambles for a touchdown. So I think anytime you're able to run the ball, period, it opens up the world to you, and that helps.
Is it kind of a double-edged sword with him, though? He's such a playmaker for you, and he can make things happen. By the same token, you have to kind of keep him healthy. So do you have to fight the urge to run places?
There's no question, yeah. And I'm mindful of that. And part of his game is running, and I don't ever want to take that away from him. But, you were asking about sliding. I've talked to him about sliding for about 9 months now. So I guess he never played baseball. But, no, I think that's a big part of it. He's done a better job of trying to eliminate hits, run out of bounds, make yourself skinny. There's times that he doesn't. There's times I'm over there, no, okay, good. But that's definitely part of it. Sure.
Take his shots. And
when you guys went to Boise, you feel better?
Yeah, it's been better. I mean, obviously, you don't ever know till you get in the game. And honestly, I haven't made a big deal of Boise in the last time because after the first couple drives, they settled down. So they've handled it well. I don't want that to be a distraction or all of a sudden something that's more than it's not. So I think they've handled it well. And, hopefully, knock on wood, there's no issues with that part of it.
Having a run game already.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no question. Yeah, no question. So, and we have different ways mechanically to handle, the cadence and things like that. And we've been working through it all week. So hopefully that's in the past.
What's your Ron? What actually makes Frank what else does he bring to your offense?
Speed. He's fast. So I think there's different things you can do with him. He's learning to play the receiver position. We've kind of done things with him to try to eliminate a little bit of just go play fast. If you're fast, go play fast. And so he'll get better with the more experience. It's great he's playing in games. There's nothing that substitutes game experience. So the more he gets comfortable in the offense, the more we'll be able to utilize his speed. But what he brings is, he's fast.